We are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is PCar Talk. Welcome to an episode of PCar Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're back in St. Pete. So we have a good show. Suspension's finally on the car, right?
Yep, it's in there. Thank
you to JRZ for sponsoring the show. So what specifically is on the car is a RS Pro three-way adjustable with external coolers and all the goodies and all that stuff. Yeah. And then we put H&R springs with Tarek drop links on it. So that's the full package on the car.
Sway bars.
Yeah, it totally transformed the car. Not that the car was sloppy before with the roof springs. It was just a little bit more GT car-ish. And I don't mean GT3-ish. I mean like Grand Tour style. Yeah. It was a little cushy.
Do you think the sway bars were needed to be done? Or do you think it's just something you feel like you do?
I just felt like I wanted to do it. I mean, we were there anyway, so it was like, why not? When we took them down, I mean, they're motorsport bars because I guess it's a Turbo S, so it's essentially what the same thing with the factory GT3 comes with. Yeah. So they're stiffened sway bars from factory.
It's like 26 or 28 mil, I think.
Yeah, and the H&R is a hair beefier, not like, I wouldn't say substantially, but a hair. But I figured we were there, why not throw that in there and just put everything on it, and that's where we are with it. I've driven it quite a bit actually since then. I spent a couple days purposely kind of like dailying it, like taking it around town. Drove it to Orlando and back. It's actually really, really nice.
Do you feel like it's more compliant now than it was? I mean, obviously springs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. It's definitely stiffer. Like I can feel as opposed, and that's what I meant with the GT Rebound, where the car had a little bit more like cushion in it, where it wasn't, when you hit a bump and it's really like rigid, where the spring rates like tighter. Yeah, like that's what it's like now. Okay. But I'm used to that because that's what the 964 is like. But I wasn't used to it in that car, so it's going to take some time to get used to like how that behaves, but that just takes time behind the seat. It's not really a bad thing or a good thing. It's just getting used to it. It's just different, I guess. But I really enjoy it. I dived it in a couple clover leafs on the interstate on purpose to try to, I don't know, get the car to do something, and it just hooked and went. So it's definitely
had your face against the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess we're going this way.
Yeah. Hitting benders at 80 miles an hour. I'm sure everybody else in their Kias as they're getting onto the interstate's like, what in the hell is this guy doing right now?
I was barely any steering input.
I'm betting in suspension, bro. That's what I'm doing.
Figuring it out.
Got nowhere else to do it at. You just keep going around on the loops over and over again on the clover leafs on the interstate.
I'll get this.
I'm gonna get dialed in. I'm gonna get dialed in, bro. But it's definitely a major upgrade, and a big thank you to JRZ for sponsoring us and making that happen. If you are going to hunt down some suspension, I highly recommend it because they're best in the business, right? So make it happen. Reach out to Chris or anybody at JRZ to make it happen, and I'm sure they will be more than willing to accommodate you.
They will.
So let's go ahead and thank our crew of Patreon people. Thank you guys so much. I'm just going to say the general thank you, and Aaron's going to read everything out. But thank you guys so much who are Patreon members. Let's go ahead and tell them the moves again. Even if you've heard it before, you're going to fucking hear it again because this stuff is actually important. Yeah, exactly, right? And give us the Cliff Notes version, but hit all the high points on it.
So we got 3 tiers, patreon.com/PCarTalk. The first one's PCar Talk supporter. It's $5 a month. You get the warm fuzzy that you're supporting our show.
You're keeping us alive.
Keeping it. Supporting. Exactly what it says.
Life support.
And then we have the PCar Talk producer. And the producer, you get a shout out on the show. We're going to do it every show. And you'll be in the
Which is kind of rad, right? To hear your name called out in 90 different countries, because that's where we're being broadcasted in right now.
I think your name in the description for... Like in the podcast, I'm throwing it in there, and I'm throwing it in also on the YouTube side. So you get those 2 things, and you get a PCar Talk decal.
Nice.
And then for the top tier, or the Sriracha Boys, and that's showing that loyalty. So it's a full year where the 3 months you get a decal, 6 months you get a shirt, and then 9 months you get a poster, and then 12 months you get a hoodie. And it's all the Sriracha Boys logo. And I haven't really posted that on Instagram, and I keep saying I'm going to do it. I have it now, so you'll see it after the show.
Nice. So let's go ahead and shout out our loyal Patreon people.
So we got 5 people so far. We got Brian R., Eric A., Matthew M., Sean H., and Nikki F.
You guys are legends. Thank you guys for signing up, supporting the cause. We really would appreciate it if you're listening, if you would join that cause. If you can't get into the membership because it is full. If you are still interested in becoming a PCar Club member, just get on the waiting list. But meanwhile, you can still contribute to the show, help support us to pay the bills and things like that. And that's a great way to help that cause. And we appreciate those 5 that are in there, and we're looking forward to many more joining that. Correct?
And year 2 people, the year 3 is starting up. So we had our first year 3 person. Mm-hmm. Just renewed for June. So.
Nice. And you're getting all the new gear with that comes along with that.
Everything's blue this year. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. Good stuff. Really cool stuff. So if you're not paying attention to that and you're not on the gram, pay attention to the email list that Aaron sends out. You'll see it on there.
And that was a voted color too. That actually
exactly.
happened. It wasn't just
we're letting you guys call it the democracy style. Yeah. That wasn't our color we picked. That was you guys, and we're gonna.
We may or may not have wanted that color.
Yeah. Still granted, we're gonna give you not the infinite color wheel. We're gonna give you a couple choices. That way, we can kind of hone in on percentages of where people are voting, and that will happen every year that we roll over as far as letting the members pick.
That was pretty close. I think it ended up being 20. I think it was between black and blue for the most part.
Fair enough. Maybe we'll do green and something next year for votes, and we'll see what comes up.
Just green only. 100%.
Yeah, we'll just send them one. It's like, oh, it's a democracy, so either you vote or you don't. Those are your options. But anyways, thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate it. Everybody who is a PCar Club member, can't thank you guys enough already for being part of that 100. If you did miss out, it's not going to be too late. I'm sure somebody at some point is going to make a mistake and not renew for whatever reason. So you're going to get opportunities because we've already had occasionally, and some people that are actually very, very close friends of ours, for whatever reason, maybe switched a credit card and then never follow back up with us, even though we have proof emails. There's like 6 back and forths, and then they totally forgot. And then they're like, oh, is it too late for me to get my 2nd year membership, even though they haven't been a member for like a year? And it's like, yeah, you have to start all over, clown. You don't get to jump back in. And also, there's already 100 people ahead of you. So now you got to get back in line. So to show there's proof behind that, this person is very, very close to us, and they don't get any preferential treatment. So everybody is that's the way it is.
And then just another, if you're in the 100, it's auto renewal, so it should whenever your time comes. I can send an email for them. Normally I do for the month, just letting you know that's going to happen. But it happens like it says automatically. And if it doesn't, then like say you did change your card and you forgot about it, it'll still send you an automatic reminder saying, hey.
Yeah, update your information, right?
Yeah.
Cool deal. So Porsche has a new configurator out, right?
Yep.
If you're not familiar with Porsche, their website, they have configurators for their cars and all that stuff. So here's a new one, but it's not for vehicles. It's for Porsche Design. It's for watches. Interesting enough, you can play around with all watch designs on there. So Porsche Design watch chronographs that are on there. You can spend your hard-earned dollars on there, starting at $8,100, and that's before adding any options. Seems pretty pricey. Used to be able to buy a used sub at that price point. I would say probably a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Used subs, I was briefly looking at it, not because I wanted one, but just to reference this, they're starting at $10,000 right now, and that's used subs. That's usually no box and papers. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you too much. We're not going to turn this into a watch show, even though many of you are watch connoisseurs, including myself. Just wanted to update you guys on what's available.
Was that just a regular like stainless and black dial sub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, brass tacks at 10K, yeah. But so going back to the chronograph that, or Porsche Design watch or whatever that they're doing, this isn't a new thing. Porsche Design has been making watches for a long time. The new thing here for everybody to know is it's a configurator now. Before, you were just buying them the way they decided to make them.
Yeah, normally they'll like release some edition and there it goes.
So now you can customize something. Like if you saw one of their watches that came out, or whatever, the Ren Sport Edition watch or whatever it was, and you saw it and you're like, man, that looks really good, but I don't like that coloring or whatever it is. You can do whatever the hell you want to it now. I have a vintage Porsche Design Arafino watch. I hunted that watch for a while. I feel like a lot of Porsche guys are more vintage watch guys in general. I'm just generally speaking. Not everybody is that way, but generally speaking. I don't see a lot of Porsche people, at least maybe it's because we just don't rub elbows with those people, but buying any new Porsche Design watches. Everybody I know is buying vintage Porsche Design watches, like all the Orofino stuff. Yeah. You know, maybe Speedies, like vintage subs, all those kind of things. What's your opinion on, again, this isn't a new topic. They've been making Porsche Design watches. Every time I've even seen one in the past before you could customize them, I was kind of always saw them and I'm like, man, that's a lot of money for, you know.
Maybe you love the brand that much. I don't know that I'm, and I see it more of like
and I'm a wrist watcher. I don't see that many new ones floating around on people, at least that I know.
The only occasion I could see is like maybe you're new to the brand. Maybe it was like you bought a turbo and you're like, oh, you know, it'd be cool. I want to get a watch to match my turbo now that you know about it. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I too think of it more of the vintage world before I think about like, oh yeah, there's new watches.
Yeah, and it's not that they're not quality. It's all Swiss movement. It's all good stuff. I just wonder, and like I said, this isn't something new because where we talk about this, well, maybe they'll catch on over time. Well, they've been making this stuff since the 80s. This isn't something new that Porsche Design is making watches. They've been making them for a while. But I always feel like there's a very low amount of people that are purchasing these watches in general.
Maybe there's enough and they fired their designers and they're like, well, there's a million designs. We hope somebody will, you know, make their own, or maybe they got tired of making watches. Like, hey, maybe we'll give them the freedom to do it and then you know, sell some more. I mean, 8100 still, it's a good chunk. It's still on the higher end of their watches anyways. Normally they're not. They're in like maybe 5.
Yeah.
So what's the top end? Is that crazy?
I don't know. I didn't even play with it, to be honest with you, because, again, I just don't have any interest in that. It's not that they're not good-looking watches. I don't know. Maybe if I have 10 grand to spend, I'm still going to go towards a Rolex, because I almost feel like watch people. I don't consider myself a watch person, but I do like watches, I guess, if I can describe myself. Like, I can't go through and name every single thing out there. I know enough to be dangerous and know enough to put my foot in my mouth on a certain amount of watches. However, I feel like the Rolex, and I'm not just harping on that. There's, you know, I actually like...
talk about a brand that's ingrained in racing.
I mean,
everywhere.
I like Omega. I like Speedies better anyways. But anyway, the point is, I think if a person is a watch connoisseur, they're hunting multiple lines of watches for different reasons, right? They may want a chronograph from a certain watchmaker. They may want a dive watch from a certain watchmaker. I don't feel like those watch connoisseurs are like, I want a Porsche Design watch because that's the chronograph I want, if you're just a watch person. See what I'm saying? Like, I almost feel like that watch is trying to get just the Porsche people to buy them, but I feel like the Porsche people are like, no, if I'm going to buy a watch, I'm going to go here. And I feel like that bridge isn't there. I just had that feeling with it. I'd love to hear some of the people's opinions that are watch people if they comment like on the YouTube or even on our Instagram, because it's actually a curious topic of mine of why doesn't this covet, I guess, at the same level of like, you don't see these around where, okay, so you go to, you know, whatever, you know, Chrono 24, or you go to these websites where that stuff is sold secondhand, but a lot of high-end watches or whatever. You don't see like a copious amount of Porsche Design watches on there for sale.
And the only thing I ever look for is Arfinas. So there's that.
So,
and the black one, because obviously you don't buy the silver one.
I mean, again, it's not for lack of quality, and we've talked about this before, but I just think this thing just doesn't get legs for whatever reason.
I don't think Rolex would ever do it, but if they ever combine their forces, it'd be kind of cool. Not that I'm in the market for that, but
I mean, I think they're so strong on their own that they're kind of like, why would we ever even cross those lines?
No, I don't think they would.
I mean, I think as far as they ever go into that stuff, I mean, they do have racing watches, right? Rolex Daytonas, those are very popular watches, very expensive watches. But instead of being brand specific, it's like, okay, it's for this race. and we sponsor this race. We sponsor this endurance race.
They sponsor everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like the endurance race, the race watch, right? The chronograph. That's like their move. They're like, we don't need to partner with you. Yeah. We give our watches away to the winners. Like, you participate in the race. Like, we sponsor the whole race.
Yeah, that is the crazy part. That you'll see all manufacturers. We've seen Tag, we've seen Chopard and other things on cars, and then Rolex is just sponsoring the whole track.
Yeah, and we've talked about it on a prior podcast where Tag actually officially is combining their forces with Porsche to make a watch, and they made that watch already, and it's out. I think that watch has more legs than just a Porsche Design watch, in my opinion, because you're combining like a history, Tag Heuer brand.
The story behind it.
Exactly. I think that one actually has more merit.
I think that's where I think that's probably where it doesn't go well for you, is there's no story, history, or anything like that makes sense for. It's just like, it's a watch, it's Porsche.
Yeah, maybe almost kind of like, hey, take a tip out of our. We're listening. If they're listening to us, and they probably aren't, but if Porsche Design's listening or somebody in that and gets back to them, maybe make their drivers start wearing Porsche Design chronographs, and while they're racing the race, be like, these are the watches our drivers wear. I bet you that will carry more merit, because then people will be like, this is what the race car drivers are wearing. I want to wear that watch.
That's what F1 does. So
yeah. I mean, people want Daytonas because people.
I know they do. They. I'm sure that they do that with Tag and other brands. The people that actually sponsoring the cars. But yeah, I guess if Porsche wanted to one up it, our drivers are wearing our watches.
Yeah, or even the whole team, not even just the drivers, the crew chief, all those people. They're all on the
Pascal watch.
They're all on it.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe they are already doing it, but maybe they're doing a crap job of advertising it. Maybe they need to attach onto that story.
Just like every other Instagram story, like, what time is it? Oh, yeah, it's 9:11. Oh, it's 9:19.
Exactly.
It's time.
But anyways, so that's out. If you guys are really nuts about doing a Porsche watch,
let us know what you configured. Like, send us a screenshot, DM us something.
Yeah, send us something badass. We'll repost it.
Yeah, the order form. We want to see your order
exactly. And be like, this kind of looks like the old school one when we hear that. So Lufthalt's happening, right? It's happening in September.
That's what I hear.
It's happening in Indianapolis. If you've been living under a rock and you're not sure that's actually happening, yes, it is.
Yep, 10th.
If you don't do any social media or you've just been so busy you haven't really been paying attention, Lufthalt is happening in Indianapolis, September 10th. Yep. And there is also some more Porsche stuff going on that weekend,
a lot
right?
Of it.
Exactly.
It's like an entire week of things, from what we know.
So this is kind of like a Lufthalt / Rennsport, but not being called Rennsport. They're calling it Porsche. What do they call it? Porsche Festival.
Yeah, Porsche Festival.
Porsche Festival is the exact vernacular they're using. And unfortunately, we are already checking out on Sunday, but we were been told by many, many people that we need to stay through Monday. However, we are driving, so if we can scoop up, maybe if we're lucky, the hotel will have an additional night, and we'll have to move out of Airbnb one night and maybe go into that, or who knows. I mean, we're going to get there, and I'm sure we're going to have FOMO and be like, you guys are literally going to leave on Sunday. Like, you cannot leave on Sunday.
It's going to be the worst.
And then Aaron's going to probably just have to, since we're driving, he'll have to take a one-way flight back by himself, I guess, because I'm going to probably stay then.
I don't know. I mean, we're still, and then we're so close to our event.
Well, Eric's saying that just like, you cannot miss Monday. Like, why would he say that?
I know what he needs to do. Shift it to Sunday, so we don't have to worry about it now. I mean, what's happening on, what we know, people. So don't ask us. Don't DM us anymore. Yeah. I've been asked a lot about what's going on. I get the
same stuff all the time.
So you know what we know.
It's like,
yes, we probably know a little bit more, but
that's kind of the shit part about what we do, right? Like, a lot of the personal stuff, like, I almost feel like we're just used as the information desk for a lot of people, where they're just kind of like, not how are you doing? How's your day going? It's more kind of like, so what's going on with Luft?
You guys got the
I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, I'm good, bro. Are you good?
Yeah.
Thanks for good morning to you too, asshole. As opposed to like, and then watch, I'm just gonna get flooded with stuff just because people are gonna troll me just to do it.
Mike964_.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm gonna block you. I was like, you get to unfollow me. Like, I block you and make you unfollow me. All those kind of shits. But we'll find out. It's not like you can't reach out to him. I could text him and figure out why we need to be there on Monday. It's just being lazy and not doing that.
Luft is on Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday is the Cup race.
Mm-hmm.
or probably practice and then the race on Sunday.
So maybe Monday's the day where they bring out all the vintage cars and like play around like they did at Rennsport?
I guess so, but why would you wait till Monday? Because you're gonna have that. I mean, unless I doubt the whole.
Because all those wealthy guys don't work.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's an event. We're gonna be up there, so you're gonna have to suck it up. Like you're just gonna have to work on the road. Like we'll be there Monday too. It doesn't matter. Like maybe we don't need to be there all day Monday, but at least maybe half the day.
Yeah.
Because if there's some really juicy stuff going on, I don't want to be that guy. It's like we stayed all weekend and then we left. And they were drag racing the 917s, but Aaron had to get back, even though he has a remote position. But we got to get back to Tampa. We have to get back.
They got to see my bookshelf. I know.
Yeah, I got to sit in my house and play on my laptop and do my work. You can't do that in the car, and you can't do that in Indianapolis. You can do that there.
2 screens.
You can do that there. Well, then I'm sorry. You're just going to have to suck it up for a little bit. But we'll play it by ear. I'm sure we can find an Airbnb for a night extended somewhere other than our location.
Have you talked to him yet?
No, I'm not saying extend our place.
Oh,
I'm not even going to do that. Like I was just going to kind of play it by ear. I'll still ask Eric what's going on, but almost kind of want to see it in our own hands to say like, okay, hey, we can just get a hotel room tonight, or actually no, we can just take off. We don't really need to do this. Okay. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to leave on Sunday, so I'm thinking there should be some random availability is what I'm thinking, is what my mindset behind it. And I could be wrong, but it's a big city. It's not like we have a car, so we could drive 20 minutes if we need to and go stay somewhere else instead of like in the heart of it.
You mean like the basement in Chicago?
Yeah, like the one Mel found us. That was nice. That was really nice. Like we got fallout shelter and
behind the scenes.
Yeah, looked like a college dorm room and not even a nice one. But yeah, so that's Lufthalt. We hope to see you guys there. If you end up going out there and we're out there, don't be bashful. Come say hi to us. There's going to be a ton of people out there anyways, so lots of people to say hi to, lots of people to talk to. But it is a good opportunity for us to kind of see some of our membership and some of the people who listen to us, and just put a name with a face and get to talk to you guys a little bit out there. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk about some Singer Porsches, and Vivid Racing's got some cool stuff going on, so we'll see what's going on with that.
Right.
Thank you guys listening to PCar Talk so much. We appreciate you guys so much. I can't say that enough. Now back to the show. Aaron, all right, we're back from break. Aaron's got some shit to say. So finally, we're going to get something out of the freaking out of the torture chamber on this guy. He's finally going to talk. We've been waterboarding him for months now. So like, we're going to get some information from him of what's happening in his car scene. So, cue the music. Dun, 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 dun. Like, what's going on, Aaron?
So what I would like to do, here's the game plan. I might keep it, but I'm looking at selling it. And the reason I'm looking at selling 997 is because it's got miles on it. And if the IMS is unserviceable, I'm not spending $5,000 to get the block cracked open and redone. So I don't care. And the market's up on cars. So,
but I mean, realistically, with the mileage you have on your car, what, you got 150?
Yeah.
What do you think your car is going to bring?
Maybe 20, maybe. Okay. 20, 25, probably 20 realistically.
I'm asking, I don't know. That's 20. I'm not like...
I mean, Mannheim on it's 15. Mm-hmm. So I would hope that I could do 5 over what a Mannheim's going.
So you're going to buy a GT3 if you get rid of this? And you're going to buy an air-cooled? So you're going to make 2 moves?
There's reasons now. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'll do the GT3 move. I think the smarter move for me would be buy daily. So probably Cayenne S, cash.
Okay.
And then I'll have something. I don't have car payment. I don't have any of this stuff. And then go look for an air cooled. I think that's going to be my move.
Okay.
That way I have something at least.
So then you'll go 911 less for a while.
I don't know if it'll be a while, but we'll see. They're making house moves too. So
I know. This
is all
excuses.
Oh, wow. Maybe it's plans.
No, I know. I get it. I razz you, but I understand. Like if you're making, I understand. Like you got to handle like you're selling a house. If you sell a house, like you got to handle all that, and then I get it. Yeah, I mean,
I don't have thoughts. I mean,
that's not a bad move. Do Cayenne like I did. Oh, speaking of Cayenne stuff, so I had my Cayenne headlights, if you guys don't know this stuff about first gen Cayennes, like a lot, like the wiring is basically biodegradable on that shit. So I had to buy new wiring harnesses for each headlight because they have their own wiring harness. And then the driver's side internal wiring with the headlight is now not working properly, and that's falling apart. So I'm going to have to buy new headlights probably too.
Nice.
So
those are $1,200.
Exactly.
$1,500. I know that. I looked recently.
Exactly. So mechanically the thing's fine. If you're not okay with dealing with these little gremlins, then this is probably not going to be your... I'm not saying you. I'm saying anybody listening. But once that's sorted, like it has new wiring harness. Okay, well, the thing's an 05, so it's 16 years old. So obviously, I'm not going to have to worry about a wiring harness for a very long time again. If I do headlights, okay, yeah, $1,200, but I don't need to worry about it for a very long time.
Is the entire cars or the entire Cayenne's harness, is it biodegradable, the entire thing, or is it just certain looms? Or you don't know?
The whole unit, like all of the wiring is. It starts
so
to
do you
just...
think at one point you're just going to go out there and you're just going to see this big pile of dust under your car?
Yeah, I mean, you mean like the computer wiring harness? Yeah, like all the electrical is the same stuff. So, thankfully, a lot of those places know that. So, like the headlights now are made, they're made repop with like a canvas system inside. So, the thing, if your harness fails or whatever, it's all internal, so it doesn't like screw anything up. So right now, the harnesses. The headlights work. It's an annoying thing. So basically the right turn signal is the only thing that doesn't work in that headlight unit. So I'm gonna have to buy 2 new headlights to get the damn turn light to work again, or ghetto fab it and just deal with not a right front turn light, because the rear still works, but it does that whole blinking fast thing because it doesn't.
It's out of voltage. Yeah. The voltage is not right.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't get any juice to the wiring of that light anymore, because the wiring is just ate up. So that's where I'm at with it. It's minor shit, but it's annoying shit when you use it all the time. Is it $1,200 annoying? I haven't. You know how like pissed off I get sometimes, and I just order all the stuff right away because when that stuff happens, I just get pissed and I just replace it all. Actually, I haven't done that because I have other things cooking right now, so I'm just gonna kind of live with that for a minute. And here's the messed up part about it: it's even more ghetto because Corey and I were playing with it after he did all the stuff. If you bang on the headlight and like you leave the turn signal on, it starts to work, but then it stops working. So it's definitely the wiring. But it's the wiring inside the headlight because we already replaced the wiring harness.
Yeah,
so
that sucks.
Yeah, so... And I asked him, I was like, well, what do you think I should do? He's like, I think you should buy 2 brand new headlights so you don't buy a used one and it does this too on the used one.
You never know.
He's like, if you're doing the used one,
yeah,
that's what he's saying. He's like, it may already have that problem and you may go, and even used, they're like $400.
Yeah.
So you spend $400. He was like, you might just throw $400 down the drain. You'll be even more pissed off. So I'm like, all right, bite the bullet, buy $1,200 set and be done with it. And of course, that car has Xeons, so they're more expensive than the halogens, but such is life.
Did you watch the Trans-Siberian like documentary? Have you seen that?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I mean, I don't...
They really stacked the deck on Porsche winning.
Yeah.
I mean, because there was, I think, 8 to 10, and then they went in... It wasn't the first year. I think it was the second or third year when they were trying to do it. That's when they put in their pro drivers and everything. I mean, so it was really... Even though they were Cayenne S's essentially with the GTS motor hopped up, there's things. One caught on fire, like full on, straight up. It's not going anywhere to the ground fire. Like a lot of electrical stuff, which you would guess because it's super deep water there.
Yeah.
A couple of pro drivers crashed. One like flipped it, and it was I don't know how they survived. But yeah, they really stacked. It was the least. I felt like there was 8 cars there to win this, but they won. I mean, and so that's why they designed the car. But I think it was a little. I don't feel misled, but I always kind of thought it was like, oh, just like the rally cars back in the day. There's a couple of them. They just went out and
Well, no one's going to tell you the nitty gritty, right? You got to do the research. They're not going to divulge that.
But it was a good. I might throw the link down in the description. But I thought it was actually going to be in German, and it was full out British English.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like, if you get into it, just be prepared for that. But I mean, drivetrain wise, they're pretty solid. Like, I've already done the coolant pipe since I've had it.
Yep.
I mean, of course, the headlights are expensive in that car. It's just the way it is. It's $1,200 just for like a daily. It just pisses me off. Just like little stuff like that. I'm just like, damn it.
Yeah.
But I mean, once they're done, they're
Yeah.
done, right? So that's what I have to tell myself. Once they're done, right?
And it's good for life. 1,000,000 miles in that car.
I mean, it's a freaking Touareg, for God's sakes. Why do they cost that much? But anyways, I'm like in there jamming a Touareg light in there. It just doesn't work. So Vivid Racing has made a body kit for the Taycan. Now, there was another company, I don't remember their name. It was not important, but they made a body kit for the Taycan when it first came out, but it was pretty intrusive, meaning like you had to cut into the fenders. It was like, fender flares and all this kind of stuff onto the car. So it was really, really like aggressive looking. This is actually more kind of like OEM plus. So basically it just makes a more aggressive front bumper. So this is all bolt on. You don't have to cut in the frame or anything. So you can take the front bumper off and put this other one on. It has a rear diffuser. It has a little bit of a ducktail on it for the rear, where it makes it look more aggressive on the rear, the rear spoiler area, which is kind of cool looking. I like this one a lot more because it doesn't look so hot boyish.
You feel like it's more like sports car?
Yeah, I just think it looks like something that Porsche could have done. And I like anything, usually it's kind of OEM plus. Like when you get into the level of you're like cutting fenders and you're getting heavy duty into stuff like that, where you're kind of like, okay, this can't be undone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you as a buyer, an owner would be, you'd probably feel better about that kit
like
too.
everything on this kit, if you're a Taycan owner, go look that up. It actually looks pretty good. All of the stuff can be undone.
Fiberglass, carbon fiber.
It didn't say, but I would imagine actually probably both are available. So if you want to spend big money, you can go carbon fiber if you want. Most places are doing that now. They're doing fiberglass and carbon fiber. So go check it out. I think it's pretty good.
Was there a price on there? You don't know.
No price, just an announcement.
So probably $8K.
Who knows? But it looks good. And where I'm was going with this in general, like, yes, this is new news and this is nice to tell people, but what I think is nice is we're starting to see companies embrace this EV movement as they're modding the cars. They're building kits to do the cars. They're doing stuff to it. They're actually supporting the market too, and that's big if you're a car enthusiast, because if you don't have any aftermarket support, it kind of leaves the enthusiasm out of the car, because then you're the one doing R&D with maybe your local shop. You're like, okay, well, I want to do this and I want to do that. And they're like, yeah, we can try this. And then you end up spending 20 grand trying things, as opposed to this other place doing the R&D, like Vivid or whoever made these molds, and be like, all right, this goes together. Yes, it's done. This is the way it looks. Good to go. I think it's interesting that that's happening. I think it was inevitable, because these places want to survive, right?
Yeah.
If the EV's happening, they're not going to fold their arms and stand on the wall and say, well, we're just not going to make stuff for it. They're a business. They have to. And I'm sure we're going to see more and more of this as we see the Cayman EV come out. We see the Boxster EV come out. We're going to probably see a lot of these places embrace all this stuff.
I think Porsche might embrace some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
Once they see the outsiders doing it, I'm like, okay, we like that.
I think the real interesting part about it is when we go a little bit deeper, years-wise in this, what I mean. And I think you touched on it many moons ago, when they start maybe tinkering with the battery and the motors and stuff like that, because I think that's when it's going to get really interesting. Is it just going to be a software? What are they going to do? Are they going to tap into it? Like, how are they going to get more out of it? Yes, you're going to probably get less mileage, but can you get more juice out of maybe a base battery, saying like, okay, well, this car really only gets 400 horsepower. Yeah. And we all know these things are basically software controlled. You find out a way to hack that software, and you're an aftermarket.
There'll be tuners for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're at one of these aftermarket places, and now you got people buying the base cars, but they're juicing them up just because they're just their fun cars. They don't care if they only get 100 miles out of it. They're like, dude, I'm only driving this around town. Yes, I want like all 800, horsepower out of this thing.
Yep.
For that, I don't care about the range.
10,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah, I don't care about the range. I think we're going to start seeing that. I know there's other people already doing that, kind of like down low in the dirt stuff, but it's not really like publicized where everybody's like, hey, come here, we'll hack your stuff for you and do this.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see when they start turning up the voltage and stuff. But the bigger thing would be once there's an aftermarket for the motors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it goes back to, like, if you're degrading the battery that fast, like, how much is that going to, the science behind that's going to be interesting to see. How degenerative is the battery going to get because you're putting so much draw off of it? Is that going to degrade the battery faster than it normally would, as opposed to like normal usage, where it's like, okay, well, you only lose this much percentage off the battery after 10 years or whatever the number is, you know.
That'll also drive the aftermarket to create batteries and better ones. So then you'll have, you know, it'll be like anything. You have performance batteries. You're going to have performance motors. You're going to have tunes. It's going to be the exact same thing we have now. Just
and then there'll be a lithium shortage and you name it. And if you've ever seen how they have to mine for that stuff, go ahead and check it out. I'm just going to leave it with that. Yeah. It's pretty rough.
He's got a soapbox for that.
No, I just think it's interesting, and I'll leave it there. I won't sway anybody. Just look it up if you've got some time to twiddle your thumbs. So Singer Porsches are selling secondhand.
Yeah, they are.
At over $1 million at auction now.
That's what I'm seeing.
So, as much as we thought the 550, 650 when you bought one new seemed excessive, right?
Yeah.
People paying 1.2, 1.3 at auction for secondhand cars that they didn't even build, that they aren't customized exactly the way they want it, right? That's a high number. So, my question to you is this a product of where we are in the market right now, as far as all Porsches being up that we've discussed on other shows? Singer Porsches are no immune to that situation. So obviously they're going to be elevated, but double what they really are? Is that fair?
There's not, and there's
do you
a waiting
think
list.
well, do you think it's just that, or do you think it's a combo of, has the waiting list caught up to this point in time where
I think you're right.
Where there's the waiting list is so deep and so long, and if you have the funds, and it seems like there's a lot of people that have a lot of money spending a lot of stuff on a lot of cars, in order to bypass this 24 to 36 month wait, if not longer at this point. We haven't checked in with them. It could be even longer than that. Yeah. To have your special car built, as we know, at least in the North American market, and the people that maybe are buying these cars, and the patience is little, right? We want it now type of deal. Oh, what? I got to wait 2 days? Why can't you overnight it to me? We've gotten to that way in society with almost everything, right? Yep. And if you're wealthy, maybe even more so, because you're not used to waiting for anything. So then you ask somebody who is wealthy to wait 3 years for something, and maybe the guy's worth $150 million or gal, and they say, okay, well, you can pay $650 and we'll have your car done in 3 years, or you can pay 1.2 and you can have a car right now at auction. And when money doesn't mean anything to you, maybe when you start stacking the chips up like that and you start adding these things up, I could see why that's happening, because they don't want to wait, because we talked about this earlier, right? Time is money. You can't buy more time. That's 3 more years maybe that guy or girl would have with this car, even though they didn't pick it, but they would have with the Singer, as opposed to waiting 3 years to have it.
And probably flip it for the same amount.
Exactly.
Or keep it. I mean, that'd be the
So do you think it's a combo thing, back to my question, or do you think it's actually just the one thing?
I think it's a combo. I think it's hot market for everything. So I think that may be some of the price, but then it also could just be limited. I mean, not, like you said, not waiting.
Well, there's not a gazillion of them out there. We already know that.
And if you're not picky on, specs, then pay up. I mean, how many? There haven't been too many that's gone to auction. These have to be the first few, right?
There hasn't been. I mean, there has been a couple prior to this crazy market that we're in now that kind of went out there that didn't really bring what people were expecting, and I don't think the cars went up for auction, and they may have sold on the side, but at public auction, it's bid to price was like 560 something, and then it didn't sell. But maybe they did a deal behind the snes, and this was like 2 years ago.
So they probably made some money on it. They just didn't make all the money.
Yeah. Or they hung on to it. Who knows? And maybe they had a change of heart because they maybe were too early. Because if you sell now, if you're a Singer owner, and this is a hard question and a hard thought process to get behind, because if you are a Singer owner, you're probably in a different, not probably, you are, I should say, you are in a different tax bracket. If you have, what I was going to say, if you've had one for a while, do you sell your car and build another one? Or does it make you even covet your car even more that you're seeing these as opposed to, okay, I'm going to sell it? Does it actually change your mind even more about the car that you own to say like, holy crap, I did really good on this thing. I was really early. I paid $450 for mine.
I think for most people that psychological ability to make money, to double your money, it starts playing with your head. I think for most people.
But again, we're talking about people that probably have an excess of wealth.
I wouldn't
here.
want to wait again.
That's what I mean.
So
I'm saying if you're 10 million liquid, what's another $500,000? Yeah. Because what I'm saying is the car's probably more precious to you than waiting for another one.
And I can get mine serviced or whatever I want to do.
Because those guys can afford to buy another one. Why not keep the one I have and build another one too? Why would I even need to sell this one to do that? But what I'm saying, I guess I wasn't clear. Does it make you, if you own the car, does it make you feel your car's even more special though? Because the price, do you feel as if, because most of those people are not bad with money,
definitely
right?
Gives you a good conversation to be like,
if they're not bad with money, let's put it this way. At least you hope they're not.
Yeah.
Who cares what anybody hopes for them? But anyways, the point is they've acquired money either working really hard or from longevity of family or whatever the means are. The point of it is, I'm sure it's a good personal pat on the back of, yes, I spent $500,000 on this car, but now they're selling at $1 million, and I've had my car for 3 years.
It's good water cooler talk for sure. Like, hey boys, I thought I was dumb for buying, this $400,000 car.
With his other
now it's 1.2
rich car
1.3.
buddies to say, hey, guess what? Yeah, I was dumb for buying a 911 that cost $500,000, huh? Well, guess what? This 911 just sold for $1.2 million.
Yeah.
So I'm 700 plus on this thing already.
If I wanted to auction it, but I don't. That's how much I love it.
Exactly. And you can play those games in your head. Do you think, because Singer's been around for 10 plus years now doing their thing, has it all of this time, and they were expensive to begin with, and they were boutique to begin with, and they were always high-end to begin with, but has their mystique even grown even more over this time? Do you think each passing year, the mystique gets stronger with Singer as opposed to getting weaker? It's like, oh yeah, there's another Singer, and people move on. Or do you think more and more people are coming up through Porsche that are becoming into maybe new money, or even getting their lump sum, or getting their trust fund from whoever they're getting, and they're finally like, I'm going to buy XYZ?
Yeah, I think there's two things. I think one, Singer is definitely like they're the only people that I ever think about when I think about retro Porsche. They've solidified that. Like, I don't even think. I mean, I know Gunther Works is doing their thing with the 993s, but just in my head, Singer's got that branding for me. And then,
but to be fair, they've got a lot more time in the business than Gunther has.
Well, of course, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe in 10 years,
maybe
Gunther cars are going to be going for a lot more. I mean, they're selling for $700,000-800,000 already, 3-4 years out of the gate.
Yeah, maybe that's helping them too. Maybe that competitor, those numbers. But and then even though they've been around for 10 years, they haven't made. It's still a limited car, still limited production.
Yeah. Well, so there's no shortage of customers with money. Let's put it that way.
No. And they still have to make the DLSs, which there's time to do that too.
Well, yeah, I mean, what is there, 25 of those only being sold ever? So they're all spoken for, but I think one's about to be delivered. I think you posted a few weeks ago. It looks finished. I think a car like that makes sense to take that kind of time, though. When you're having a Williams motor and you're having all that, and you're spending like millions of dollars on a car, on a 911, I almost okay with that waiting period, as opposed to saying, well, I want mine now. Do you really want it now, or do you want them to do you want to feel the process a little bit? You're spending $3 million here. Do you want to just be like, hey, okay, yes, there's only 25 of these, but I don't need something to be shot out of a cannon right at me to have right away. I want something. I want to stew with this a little bit of like, okay, yes, I have to wait a little bit. But
so with those people, speaking of the DLSs, now with the regular singers, the normal singers doing $1 million, does now the DLS that really hasn't even been.
Oh yeah, well all those 25 that have been sold, they're probably at least 30%. Well, I don't know if they've gone 50, but they're at least, I would say at a minimum 25% more than they were sold at retail price. And I'm sure people, even including us, were like, holy shit, they're asking how much for that car? But it's almost like buying a pre-construction home and it's already worth $50,000 more before you even move into it. That's kind of what this is. Like you paid $3 million for a Singer and it's already worth 3.7. You haven't even taken delivery yet. I think that's kind of, meaning the DLS,
which is crazy.
And they got a good thing going, man. Obviously, there's no, the proof's in the pudding. They're out there. People are buying them. There's people stacked up to buy them. It's proof almost in any industry, right? If there's a waiting list of people to want to do something, that's a good thing.
So, money no object. Do you keep your 964 or would you have your 964 singerized if you could?
What do you mean? Like, I take my personal car and send it to Singer and have them make it a Singer if I had the funds? Oh, 100%. Like, I would love to have a Singer if I had the funds, but I will never have the funds, so it's not even an issue for me.
Has there been a Guards Red one?
Oh, yeah, there has been. Like, some of the first, remember the first couple commission builds where one of them was a Guards Red with, like, gold wheels and...
That's where my Guards Red. Remember all the other colors?
Yeah, they did one. Yeah, I mean, if I had the funds, but that's a hilarious game to play because I'm never going to be in a position to be able to justify that, and I don't play the lotto, I don't do any of those things, so I don't see. I'm already 41 years old. If that money hasn't showed up yet, I don't think it's showing up anytime soon. I mean, anything's possible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like count myself out here, but I'm also a realist. And we're talking what? Okay, so then I got to send my car, or actually, it might be even better. I get to drive my car for 3 years while I'm on the waiting list, and then they say, "Hey, Mike, we're ready to bring your car in," and then that might be the real move, right? Like, go buy a 964 and drive around. Yeah, but I'm saying enjoying a 964. Most of these guys, we've been there. The Secret Singer shell factory where the carcasses are sitting, where it's no pictures at all, and we've been in there where there's hundreds of Singers just in there lined up ready to go. Well, why not drive one? And then when their number's called, why can't they take it that way? Because probably they want to have already stripped down. So like most of those are already stripped down. But so if they're not going to touch the car for 3 years, why do you got to strip it down already?
I see what you're saying. Okay. You're not just saying just 3 year build wait. You're just saying 3 year on the wait list. Why has it got to sit there?
Yeah. Why? Okay. If you love driving your 964 so much, like why not drive it for 3 years or 2.5 or whatever their time frame to strip it down all the way up to the max time you could for them to get the car prepped to do what it needs to do? Because like we've said, we were in there with all the carcasses and we saw it. But again, these people are so probably affluent, it doesn't even matter because they drive who knows what they have. Paganis or whatever, stuff we don't even know. Space shuttle, who knows?
There's quite a few one-on-one things that are just weird.
Probably own that thing there from the movie Independence Day, that space shuttle that Will Smith drove around. That thing, they probably got one of those things. It's like, I just drive it around when nobody's out here in Utah. I was like, oh, that's cool, huh? Nice.
Flying cars, that's interesting.
But yeah, I don't have anything else for these folks. You have anything?
I don't.
All right. Well, we love you guys, and we will talk to you guys soon.
See you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of PCar Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at PCar Talk or online at PCarTalk.com.